ain't come to convince you or nobody, because I know who I am. That ain't what this is about. You can think whatever you want to think, I don't care. I came to do my job. I came to prophesy as I was commanded. I came to hear the master say, well done, thou good and faithful servant.
In 50 Cent's latest footage, the silence speaks louder than any spoken accusation, quietly drawing a line between figures like Diddy and D. Jake's men, who once moved through separate worlds of music, faith, and influence, rarely placed side by side, and reminding us that when power stretches across institutions, the truth never disappears. It simply waits for its moment to step into the light, uncovering not isolated incidents, but an entire framework that rewarded proximity, shielded reputations, and conditioned everyone within reach to favor comfort over candor, ultimately proving that once the silence finally fractures, the real question is no longer what took place, but how long it was allowed to continue unchallenged.
I stopped by Puffy's house for 30 minutes to say happy birthday to him during the day at 2 o'clock with staff people, and out of that came a love affair and all kinds of stuff that I have never seen. You too? Yes! Now I'm almost 70 years old. What do I look like?
Because, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has prepared us for his departure for many decades. And many people, if you wrongly idol worship someone, you could have a void.
Real life. It ain't real life. Just a real life street star. You know what time it is.
We just had a shake in not only the religious community, but our culture's community, to where Dallas, we have people like Kirk Franklin, Erykah Badu, of these names, and then you hear someone like Bishop Jakes, the Potter's House, that of course has risen Dallas to where you have these entities and these figures that, when you say the name, you kind of already know what it is. And we just recently seen that Bishop Jakes had stepped down. Now, I want to have this conversation because I have my own theories, no Diddy, but I have my own theories about why he would step down. But I do want to address the fact that he did step down. What is y'all take on it? And then also, where does it go from here? Dooney, if you don't mind, I can start with you because you actually have a personal relationship with Bishop Jakes. You've been calling him out for the past few years, damn near feel like a decade or so. You've been calling the man out, and now it seems like he didn't answer your phone call, and now he done stepped all the way down.
Yeah.
So
I don't blame him. I wouldn't answer phone call.
This bitch don't start now. He asked me the question.
I know. I wouldn't answer your call. Come on, go ahead though.
Okay,
please.
Let me say this, man, to Bishop T.D. Jakes. You know what I'm saying? It was never any beef, anything like that. It was just some things that went on that I wanted to sit down and talk to you about that happened at the Mega Fest in Atlanta. And one of the ministers you had on staff, and because of where I came from, you know what I'm saying, it challenged my faith because of some things he did. So I just wanted to talk to you. I talked to Sean. Well, I didn't say no name, but your head security guard came to holler at me. And I sent the word out that I just wanted to speak with you. But your son came by. Shout out to my man, your son, Jermaine, he know what it is. And we talked and we discussed it. But I just want to say this to you, Bishop. You have sown a lot of seeds in Dallas. Ever since you came down, I had the honor of cutting your hair, meeting your First Lady, Jakes, Mama Jakes, Sarah, Cora. I just mentioned y'all named Jermaine, Jamar, Lil Dex. It was an honor meeting you all. And let me say to Mama Jakes, thank you for allowing.
In 50 Cent's footage, a powerful pulpit leader's sudden step back makes timing the real headline as TD. Jakes, after decades of building authority through careful words and civic ties, makes a move that feels heavier than routine transition. especially in an era where reputations collapse overnight and retreats often signal preparation, not peace. So when this shift aligns with the intensifying legal storm around Diddy, the public starts connecting dots before any verdict lands, raising the uncomfortable question of whether succession is guided by spiritual purpose, strategic caution, or a calculated blend of both.
Yo, happy to have you back on the platform, man. It's been a while, man. I haven't had you on the platform in a long time, man.
Man, stop playing, man. I ain't never left, man. Shit. All I did was change clothes.
So I want to get right into it, man. How you feel about these rumors surrounding, Diddy and TD Jakes?
Man, what I think about it is this, when I grew up in the church, the sinners was not supposed to have the same atmosphere with the saints. You have to be able to separate the two. So I'm looking at him as a saint going to a party that ain't nothing but sin, drinking, maybe fornication, man on man, woman on woman, he on she. But maybe he there to lay some hands on somebody. Maybe he there to save some souls. I know he got a contract with Revolt, so I'm just like, it's just real strange that he would be found at any kind of Diddy party or any kind of place with Diddy unless it's in a business atmosphere. So now what he's doing is he's making the Christians look real bad right about now.
And you've been to these parties, right?
Oh yeah, I was there when he was doing the white parties in the Hamptons and the whole 9 yards. So I know what goes on at the parties. If they probably got a little bit more freakier, as time went on, because they got to the point whereas that they didn't even care. It used to be secretly, where people used to go to, separate rooms and different rooms, and they wasn't doing that out in the public, but now they don't care. Men kissing men and all this other that's just crazy.
So why do you think he was going to these parties?
I think that he's going to the Diddy parties, bruh. If he's going, we know he's going to the Diddy parties, and I know that it's, I know what usually happens at the Diddy party, or what we told us happened at the Diddy parties. Maybe he need to see it for himself, man. Maybe he need to go there and really be involved in some things that could help save some individuals while they going to those parties. Or maybe he just going to...
When a civil filing drops a name, culture often races to a verdict, long before the legal process gets its turn. And in 50 Cent's footage, the transcripts expose a familiar cycle where a single claim inside a broader case turns proximity into assumed proof, especially when a figure like T.D. Jakes, long seen as a trusted advisor and stabilizing presence, gets tied to questions of influence and credibility, lending the narrative weight that outruns the facts. And while courts are built to separate accusation from truth, public memory rarely honors that line, leaving the harder question. When early judgment hardens into permanent belief, what room is left for fairness to survive?
Man, it's hard to even talk about. Why would you find a religious man, when you know that the saints supposed to separate themselves from the sinners, and why would a religious man like himself be at a party which ain't nothing but sin that's going on, bro? Whether it's drinking, maybe fornicating, maybe, like I said, men on men, women on women. It's hard to put in perspective unless he's involving himself what is actually going on at the parties. It's hard, brother.
Bruh, you know, you can't, I really don't know why, as a spiritual advisor to him, that they buddy while he got a party with him like that and be at his parties. It's got to be, maybe it's something more that meets the eye. You know, I don't know. You know, I've had, you know, I've talked to preachers and I've talked to reverends and priests, but they ain't never came to a party with me or nothing like that. So it's hard to figure that one out, bruh, without even saying, you know, what people might be thinking. But I heard that there's supposed to be some tapes or something that's coming out real soon. And I guess we'll all really know the truth if anything's on those tapes.
From your point of view, right, when you look at TD Jakes, your point of view, your opinion, do you take him serious as a pastor?
Do I take him serious? That's not my type of pastor. You know, you got to look at a person's household, and if your household is not in order, you understand, how you going to help somebody else get their house in order? You know, one of his sons got arrested, you know, some years ago in Dallas, you know, allegedly for being found in a park where a bunch of people that are homosexuals hang out and indulge in sexual activity. And I heard his two sons, which are not his biological sons, both of them are from that LGBT community. Now, how you gonna help me straighten out my house? And to me, your house ain't in order. Not saying that something is wrong with them being and choosing that lifestyle, but something is wrong with them choosing that lifestyle, being in a household with a reverend.
The core question in 50 Cent's footage isn't tied to a single moment or private gathering, but to what influence can secure in the aftermath, as the transcripts steadily point to a quieter reality where moral authority can dull controversy, wealth and credibility move in tandem, and well-chosen alliances can delay consequences, revealing that this pattern stretches far beyond Diddy or T, D, Jakes and mirrors a larger system where institutions quietly soften accountability, forcing us to face an uneasy truth. If reputation can be engineered like a public campaign, what does genuine responsibility even mean when trust itself becomes a traded asset?
Know that he was forcing her. Obviously, the government is presenting this as Diddy coercing her to stay in this relationship, to continue doing these freak-offs, even though she has said she didn't want to. But how much of that did she share with Diddy? Did he know that he was coercing her into this? Because that's what the whole sex trafficking charge is going to come down to. So one of the text messages after a hotel night that they had together, remember, hotel nights is what Jane refers to it. Cassie called them freak-offs, but these are their parties with male escorts. So after this one, this was in August of 2022, she wrote to him, "That was so much fun, baby. My love for you is unconditional and for life." She's referring to that particular freak-off that they had. And she also talks about Paul. Paul is the guy that yesterday she said that their nickname for him was Shaq. She was Kobe and Diddy was Jordan, and they were the trifecta. So she is addressing the fact that she really enjoyed their encounters with Paul. But while Diddy's defense is trying to make it sound like, look, she was so into this. She loved having Paul. She asked for Paul. She wanted to clarify this. She said, if I had to do what I had to do, at least there was somebody who had a warm energy about them. So yes, she is saying positive things and had positive feelings about Paul, but she's saying, I'm only doing this because this is, at least I have an option here. She would prefer to not have the hotel nights at all, but she felt like these were the circumstances of the terms and conditions, as she put it yesterday, of this relationship. She said, if I see him, Diddy, there is a request for a hotel night. So I'm just adapting to my circumstances. I'm adapting to my environment. So yes, there were moments when I suggest or organize these things under the pressures of my lover. Yes, I think that's key thing there. She says, under the pressures of my lover. So she certainly feels pressured to do this. Does Diddy know that he's pressuring her? That is the...
When a personal account enters the record, its weight comes less from the specifics and more from the imbalance of power sitting behind it. And in 50 Cent's footage, the story traces a path from emotional access and mentorship to closeness and affirmation, followed by an alleged breach that turns connection into control, allowing the implication to spread quickly because it echoes a wider pattern of authority converting vulnerability into compliance, leaving communities built on spiritual security shaken not only by the accusation itself, but by the possibility that trust was used as a tool, raising the urgent question of how much uncertainty moral leadership can carry before its very foundation begins to give way.
A megachurch founder and pastor, T.D. Jakes of the Potter's House. His ex-son-in-law claims that T.D. Jakes abused him. Richard Brandon Coleman is the ex-husband of T.D. Jakes' daughter, Cora Jakes. An attorney representing Coleman says that Coleman now claims, along with other unnamed males, they claim to have credible allegations against the Potter's House founder, T.D. Jakes, of grooming, assault, sexting, and transporting them across state lines. Richard Brandon Coleman, 36 years old, also known by his stage name Ski Ventura, is serving time in a Texas prison for aggravated assault of a child and indecency with a child. Cora Jakes announced her divorce from Coleman in January 2022, shortly before his crimes became public, after they'd been married for about 10 years, and they have 2 adopted children. The attorney representing Coleman made this latest claim in a filing in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Pennsylvania last Friday. That is part of an ongoing defamation lawsuit that Jakes launched against former pastor Dwayne Youngblood and 10 John Does in November 2024. So there's a lot of legal mess, lawsuit, drama going on, along with these new...
When a former prosecutor sets the boundary between private allegations and public accountability, it marks a pivotal shift tied to 50 Cent, redirecting the narrative from viral momentum to the measured standards that decide what can be examined, charged, proven, or dismissed. The record reveals a clear tension as courts move methodically in pursuit of evidence, while public discourse surges ahead in search of meaning, forcing one critical question: when legal truth and public perception unfold on different timelines, which ultimately defines the lasting legacy of figures like Diddy.
Or is this about to turn into like a whole nother scene, like a lost scene from Eyes Wide Shut? Like, this is looking a little weird. I mean, if Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be 2 reasons: money or
real life. It ain't real life. Just say real thing. Real life street stars. Know what time it is.
Why do you think T.D. Jakes was at Puff Daddy's birthday party?
You know, do you remember when Bernie Mac played the minister in Friday?
Yes.
That's how I feel about T.D. Jakes. Like, that's how I see. Oh, Miss Parker, come to pray. But for him to be at a Diddy party, I don't know. Like, I feel the same way about that as I feel about when Tyler Perry came to his church and laid hands on him and he caught the Holy Spirit from Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry is the bishop of what? Like, I've never, like, and I cut a check for 100, and I'm gonna lay my hands on you, Bishop. And he said, and then the bitch said, it's on the fucking internet. He's doing all of this, right? And then there's a woman on the dais screaming, push the baby out, birth that baby, I'm like, what? Are we a church? Or is this about to turn into like a whole nother scene, like a lost scene from Eyes Wide Shut? Like, this shit is looking a little weird. I mean, if Bishop Jakes was at a Diddy party, there could only be two reasons. Money, that's all that happens at Diddy parties. Money and I hope it was for money.
Charitable contribution.
I hope it was for money, because arguing about who's going to put the strap on is that can be a very uncomfortable situation. You know, we're going to pray on it. Praise the Lord.
The recurring tension surrounding 50 Cent extends beyond questions of personal morality into the mechanics of power, highlighting how spiritual authority often intersects with celebrity ecosystems that operate as influence marketplaces, where access translates into relevance and visibility, and where associations between figures like T, Jakes and Diddy can reinforce credibility while subtly increasing the risk of illusion and compromise, turning proximity into currency and silence into its cost, ultimately raising a critical question. When influence depends on closeness, who is truly being protected when no one chooses to speak?
Diddy, look, everything that I know tells me that he will get between 1 and 2 years, and I think it's going to be closer to 1. Prosecution is asking for 4. That's just not going to happen for a Mann Act violation. So if that's right, look, he wants to get the lowest he can get, and I think it's going to be between that 1 and 2 range. To get the 1, I think he's got to show the judge that he is taking his misdeeds seriously.
Right. And by the way, we know that even when the judge said that he was not going to let him out on bail pending sentencing, one of the things he mentioned was his violence. We've seen his violence.
Exactly.
So he knows that this is an issue for the judge.
And the defense conceded it.
Right. So that's something he definitely has to address. And that's what he's doing with this program.
Charles, he doesn't have to address it, but he is addressing it. And this might help him with regards to his sentence. Maybe the judge might sentence him to lesser time because he's working on himself.
But Jamie, you know what the complication here is that he's been found not guilty on the charges that relate to drug use and domestic violence. That there was no conviction using force, fraud, or coercion in these 3 ways, and drugs. The Cassie video was off the table. The only thing he's been convicted of is taking a prostitute across state lines for the purpose of prostitution.
But can't the judge consider all of the testimony in the that was presented at the trial?
But the defense is going to say he was found not guilty on those things. So it's really kind of an interesting.
There's that, but there's another side of this. And Jamie, you've been working on this story for 5 days now to lock this down. But what was there was one key word, one of the sources you spoke to. You remember what that word was?
Yeah, redemption.
Yeah, because that's the other part of this.
Yeah.
That this is Diddy looking at my life after prison, because now that he knows he's not going to be locked away for decades, not going to be locked away for the rest of his life,
he could get out.
When a lawyer withdraws and a firm steps aside, the narrative linked to 50 Cent presents these actions as standard professional decisions. Yet in a broader context, they read as early warning signs, particularly in high-stakes situations surrounding Diddy, where alliances begin to loosen, exposure is reassessed, and distance becomes a calculated safeguard, indicating that such moves are rarely admissions of guilt, but measured responses to escalating risk, ultimately prompting a deeper question. If power structures only shift once the threat is visible, how long was that risk quietly accepted before anyone chose to act?
That's why I don't know why they acted like they was in there looking for anything other than physical tape, because there was so many DNA samples in that house. They could have probably created a whole new race.
Let me ask you, when it comes to the hotels, he said that, or in the indictment, they said that there was people that were hired to clean up after the freak off. So this is not even the people that's hired by the hotel. These are special people.
No, they had to bring in outside clean. No, this is industrial level foolishness. We talking about?
It's Breaking Bad level.
Imagine what happened. Now you heard the video, you heard the footage with him and the Meek. Now, we also know that TD Jakes is allegedly also a power bottom. And he's a much older man. And they say he's very enthusiastic in his endeavors. What happens when he pops something loose? You know what I'm saying?
It's funny because they're mentioning sex, but they're not mentioning women. They're mentioning men as sex workers.
Yeah.
Like is that a thing where like there's a website? What? It's just wild to hear like you mentioned the
You
normal.
never heard of Grindr?
I personally have not. That is what.
Why don't nobody ever talk about the fact that TD Cakes has an account allegedly on Grindr?
Oh wow.
Grindr is app. It's been around for about 15 years now. It's pretty much where you can put a GPS in an asshole. So you go onto the app and it uses the location. And it routes you to the account of the man closest to you. And then y'all DM and you decide if you're going to do it at the 7-Eleven or do it at the gay club in the bathroom. It's a hookup site for promiscuous gay men.
Wow.
The Grindr.
Jeez.
Why would a bishop have a ghost account?
Yeah, let me ask you, also in the 14-page indictment.
Brandon.
Oh, not clips. Not clips.
Grinding. Oh, baby.
Not malice. Not malice. Oh.
She loved the way I did bop. That's what Cameron said.
Yeah, we're about to go through all the lyrics again. There was an interview I was watching with, or a video I was watching with Jay-Z and Diddy from back in, I guess early 2000s. We're gonna go back and watch through all of this because
I think we need to, because everything was done in your face.
Yeah.
They played in all of our faces, all of this stuff.
The narrative associated with 50 Cent closes without offering definitive answers, leaving the line between verified evidence and public speculation unsettled and compelling viewers to sit with uncertainty as legal processes move at their own pace, while institutions such as the church, celebrity culture, media, and the law intersect and diffuse responsibility, allowing figures from TD, Jakes to Diddy, and others to maintain they are awaiting the full account, even as that delay becomes a form of protection, ultimately raising a final, unsettling question: who truly benefits when accountability is deferred again and again?